Welcome to ATB TV. Darren Dance here with Peter Morganti on Zoom. Lockdown number 6. Someone said to me today, Pete, we're going to be in lockdown to the end of August, and this is lockdown 6 of 15. So plenty more chapters to come. No doubt that's going to make you very, very excited.
I'll be a qualified teacher. Beck will be a qualified teacher. I better say that when Beck's in the room by the end of it. But anyway, we just got to abide.
The chances of us getting back to the races this spring carnival are looking very, very grim, I would have thought. At best, if we got out of lockdown in a week and had a couple of weeks with no visitors, that takes us to the end of August. I'd be surprised if anyone could get back to the races by the end of September or the start of October. And, you know, we're pretty much on the eve then of the Caulfield Cup meeting. There's no way known we're going to be getting in the mounting yards this year. So, yeah, it's looking pretty grim.
It's tough.
And that's at best. That's at best. That's without another lockdown. So at the moment, we just had 9 days out and we're back in.
It's so hard for them to plan ahead, the race clubs. Like, you can't put nothing in place at all because, like you said, from day to day, we were probably living month to month for a while. But now it's, you know, within 24 hours. So,
well, I think now what they've seen in New South Wales has made them very trigger happy. Some would say rightly so. Some would say it's an overkill. Some would say it should be Melbourne only. Some would say should be in the country should be free. But I just reckon from a racing perspective, to me, it'll be very, very unlikely if we can get back to the spring carnival, which is a shame. Even this Saturday, Peter, we've got 4 runners at Flemington.
Yeah.
I can't recall us having 4 runners at Flemington before, and of course there'll be no one there.
Sad, a big group of artists. I mean, it could have been a ripping day, and like, you know, I think we had 3 there about a month ago. 4 horses, all nice chances, and the owners have to watch it from their lounge rooms.
Yeah, so I guess in some ways we kind of put up with it now because the weather's so poor, but I think when the sun starts to shine, it's going to make it pretty tough.
Fridges will be full in summertime lockdown.
Let's run back through all these runners, Pete, and then talk about what's going to happen this weekend.
Righto, quickly back. We had Cracksman bowl around twice this week for us. Lindsay Smith trained stayer. He was at Sandown last Sunday. He ran a good race. He ran 5th. He was only beaten a length and 3/4. He should have probably ran a little bit closer. Just got sort of held up on the fence, 150 out. Maybe cost him running 3rd. That was a reasonable run. And then we backed up 4 days later to yesterday where he ran 2nd over 3,350 metres at Coleraine. So you can make comment on both of those runs, but he's an out-and-out stayer. We might have to look which way we push with him in the future, I suppose.
Yeah, it's interesting. If he had went to Warrnambool on that heavy, which was transferred to Coleraine, I think it was a 3,200 metre race or a 3,100 metre race.
Yeah.
He really did tire the last 150 there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, it's a shame it was 3,350 and not 3,200. I don't think he could have beaten that winner. It's obviously pretty smart. Look, he done a good job to run 2nd. I'm not sure really what to make of this horse or how to assess his form. We've known all along that he's got to get out past 2,500 to be competitive, really. And that's, you know, his first go at 33.50 for us. He looked a bit soft in the last 150, but he still beat the 3rd horse by a margin. I'm just not sure what the future holds or where this horse is at, because before we bought him, he had some really, really good, strong form. Some jockeys were saying that the track was a bit sticky yesterday. It was kind of wet, but it dried out and was sort of puggy and loose in patches. But it's hard to get a read on it. I'm just not sure where we're at with him. But look, I'm encouraged by the fact that he can run a strong 3,200. If we could find some nice 2-mile races for him, and maybe even get him on a bigger track or a firmer track, and just we'd have a better idea of where we are and where we're going with him. But he's racing in good heart. He's around the mark, but we'd be thinking that on top of the ground or on a bigger track, because he is quite a big horse. We just don't know where we are, and until we see him on those sort of surfaces, it's very hard to judge him. We could say, well, look, maybe his future's over the jumps. Maybe he's not as good as we thought he was. Maybe he's never going to be midweek city class. But until we test him on all those different scenarios, it's very hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, look, back to that 50, it was a benchmark 64 or 70, I can't remember now. He's only a length and 3/4 away with a held-up run, Just a pity they don't have 2,800-metre type races in those midway. There's a lot of horses. It's a big difference from 24 to 2 mile. There's not much in between. And you only find those 25 and 2,600-metre races Saturday class at Flemington, which is probably, you look at South Pacific tomorrow and he's not up to that class. He's certainly racing in good heart. You would have thought at the 600 he was under double wraps. He was going to win by about 8 lengths, but the other horse I think has got good ability, and they did clear out from the others. So he's ran well. He's gone from 2,400 basically to 3,400 in 4 days. So you can't say he didn't run the trip. He's probably just been beaten by a better one on the day.
Yeah, I think I'd just love to have this conversation after he's been around a 3,200 metre race on a big track, on a 5 or a 6,
Yeah.
And then I think we have a better idea how to assess him.
Well, that day
he's running consistently. Yeah, he's running consistent. He's given his owners a sight, but the jury's out. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yep. For sure. Monday we had 64th Street at Gundagai. It was a wet old Gundagai by the looks of it too. She finished just down the track. We all know she's heading to the breeding barn, but I think you may have mentioned that Luke might be able to fit in one more run prior to heading to the breeding barn.
Yeah, Luke was humming and hawing whether to run or not, given it was heavy, given that it's a tight track. He ended up running on the basis that the only other option was in doubt. That might have been today. I don't know if that meeting went ahead or not, but he sort of weighed it up and made a last-minute decision to go, and then she had to jump and sit outside the leader or lead to Benny Hope, and she was slow away. And he said he just felt sick straight away when she was slow away. He was back in the ruck, and he knew he'd made the wrong call or just didn't work out. But, I mean, that's racing. We all know that.
Yeah.
But, look, there is time for her to have one more start. They don't start serving the mares until the 1st of September. I think he's picked out a race around the 18th or 19th of August. Look, there's not a lot to be gained by running her again. Yeah, she can maybe win a race to pick up another 10 or 12,000, but it's more from the breeding point of view now that by keeping her in the stable and rugged, it'll actually keep her in a better condition so that when she does go up the scone, she can get straight into the crush and get picked up in the cycle, and she's not going to be out in those cold paddocks for as long.
Yeah.
Because once you take them out of work, put them out, they do shut down their cycle. So I think by keeping her in work will help us first week or second week of September. So that's more the plan than being greedy for the money. It's more about making sure we keep her on an upward spiral so we can get her into the barn. And as I said before, she's going to North Pacific, who stands at Newgate, and she's a full sister to Elite Street. So she's got a lot of good credentials, and I really did feel sorry for Luke Pepper the other day and the owners when she was slow away.
He beat the favourite, That was the one he was worried about. Pretty was 7th and 8th. That night, or I think it was that night, Melburnian ran at, I think it was Nass. Is that how you pronounce it? She flew and ran 5th. It was a good run, actually. Nass.
Yeah. I don't know where. I can't remember the name of the track, but she's been in and out that many times and hasn't run. I think every second week we say she's in, and he pulls her out on the day because the tracks are too firm. You can't believe they haven't any rain over there. And even that track she raced on was, well, it wasn't wet. It looked like they were kicking up a bit of sand or something as they raced, but he just got to the point where he had to start her. So she went round there, but yeah, on the corner, she was back in the field, and then she was, I don't know, 8 wide on the bend, and she ran on pretty well, I thought, without ever threatening the leaders, but I don't know what her margin was. It wouldn't have been that far, but for a horse that hadn't had a run for about 2 months, pretty much first up over distance, I thought she ran really, really well. And he texted me 2 thumbs up and a money bag next start.
Well, she's probably beaten 2.5, and there was that 5, and she was the 5th of the 5, and then there was margin back to the rest of the field. So, like, he certainly finished well, made up a lot of ground, and yeah, if the money bags has been ticked by Tony Martin, we get on next start by the sounds.
Yeah, we just need the rain, and he said the weather's about to turn, but I guess you'll run through the flat season in the wet now, all the way to Christmas, I guess. But
yep.
Gee, you know, when they need wet tracks up there, like we think England and Ireland are wet all the time, but
yeah,
it just hasn't rained up there, and they've been on hot, hard tracks. So yeah, it's interesting that would have been better out here running around the mud.
Anyway, we'll wait for the next start with her. Warrnambool meeting transferred to Coleraine. We touched on Cracksman, who ran second. We also had, well, I'll mention Periscope first. Obviously, Pat's plans were to get his jumping ticket, and there was a bit of a shuffle around with no jumps trial, so he decided to run him. He was honest, beaten by the same horse that beat him at Casterton. Tom Davenig's first winner back as a trainer. It wasn't easy, but Periscope beat the rest of the field just as easy. So he's ticking over nicely. We just get that jumps ticket, and then I think there's a race at Coleraine Sunday week, I think, that Pat's aiming at over the jumps.
Is that a jumps rating?
Yeah, 3,350 hurdle.
I thought Periscope's action was as good as I've seen it, almost since he ran second to Vow and declaring a maiden at Warrnambool.
Yeah.
That's the best I've seen him travel, the best I've seen his action, probably in 2 years. And, you know, he's just a brave little horse. I don't know how many seconds he's run, but he's certainly going as good as he can go on the flat. And I'm looking forward to him going over the jumps in a couple of weeks. And once again, it's going to be very disappointing not to be there. But anyway, we can't do anything about that unless we get a strapper's license, Pete. That's our only hope to go on the races.
He 6,300. That's 2 lots of 6,300s he's got for running second now. So I mean, he's paying his way. It just shows you that, you know, that thing at Davenix probably goes to a midweek in town and wins over 23 or 400. So she's a progressive mare. We've just been a bit unlucky. We've struck a couple along the journey.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pat and the good job he's been doing with some of the horses we've sending down there, was a big box ticked when Black Mirror won by 4 lengths, turned the tables on a Lindsay Smith horse that just beat a home at Casterton. And look, you watch the race and you just think, oh yeah, that was an easy ride for Dean Yendall. But he was smart. He booted her out of the gate. He knew where the favourite was. He made it work. Every time it pushed up, he just gave a little bit more leather. And if you haven't seen the race at Coleraine, it's like a dog track when you get to the home turn, or it's a severe turn, and you can find links by just railing hard. He did. She kicked away and kept running. 4 lengths, easy win.
It was pretty to watch. I can't help but think if that meeting had stayed at Warrnambool, I'm not sure with the big straight on the fence there, she would have been winning.
No.
I think the move to Coleraine actually really, really suited us and hindered Lindsay's horse, who was caught out wider. And as you say, it's a hook turn, and she scooted away. Clever ride, great training result. She was a nutcase when we got her. She's improved out of sight both physically and mentally. On that, that won't be the last race she wins. I sent Dean Yendall a text after he rode her and just said, it's good to see the old-time jockeys can still ride a winner. And I better not, I've got my phone here. I was going to show you his response, but this is a family show.
I can imagine the response. He did have a bit of a dig post-race. He about time they put me on something with some ability. Anyway,
I think that was take 3, Pat said. The first 2 takes, there was too many 4-letter words in there about us, and he had to delete them and start again.
Yeah, dear. Anyway, look, good result. An English online buy, very well bred, especially the female side. She's the mum's a half sister to Merlin and Miss Penny Money, which were Group 1 winners in their own right. So it's nice to tick that winning box with her.
Yeah, well, she's a so you think mare, well, particularly well bred, which is why we bought her. But she was hot, and if you talk to Pat about the first day they got on her, it was like, well, am I going to die here, or am I going to end up in Apollo Bay in 5 seconds? And he tells the story about the first day they took her out in the breakwater behind the boat. She was trying to get in the boat, and they were trying to hit her off the boat with the oar. So, but when she came home here and she had a good spell with, at the paddock, I put her out with the broodmares, and they just gave her a few manners, taught her a few manners, and she wasn't a top dog out there. So she's come back better, and he's done a great job with her. She's big work in progress for the last 6 months, 9 months, and very rewarding for the owners to see her do that.
Yeah.
It gives us confidence to go and buy these wild-bred fillies out of those sales. That, maybe they're not straightforward, maybe they're well-bred but not straightforward, and if we can re-educate them, we can put a lot of value on them for the owners.
Yeah, no, I agree. Today here at Ballarat on the synthetic, we had our exceeding itself, filly Midnight Hussy, have her first start. Obviously, she was scratched, I think, from a chuka earlier in the week where it was a bulk track. Through gate 1, sizzled for the first 600. She got tired late, which I think was... Clinton said before that he expected the last 100, 150 to be, where she'll win or lose it. Look, she probably stuck on. I thought she was going to drop right out, but she actually held horses behind her. Just the winners had the suck run off her. I don't know, she'd beaten 4 lengths, I suppose, into third.
And I think the winner's a nice horse.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of that. Look, I know she's got tremendous speed and probably one of the fastest horses going around, but reminds me of a horse we had about, I don't know, probably 10 years ago called Quaffalon, and by Exceeding Excel, actually.
Yeah.
And it used to do the same thing. And before that, a horse called Shearer used to get out 12 or 15 in front, and then it was like, well, am I going to hang on or not? But look, she was having a debut start there. We all knew what was going to happen. Where she was going to be the last 50 was the test. Now, I don't know whether she learns from that, whether the jockey learns from that, the trainer learns from that, whether her fitness improves. But look, she's had 1 start for a third at Ballarat on the synthetic against some handy horses. The heavily backed horse of Alanzara's, I think it was $7 into $2.20, finished behind her. So look, she's never going to have to worry about kickback, because she's always going to be in front, but she's always going to be a problem in the last 100, I think. So whether she learns and gets out of that, he said she has come a long way, but today they just let her run because they didn't want to fight her. They didn't kick her up or anything. They just didn't want to fight her, and it's probably good to get that run out of the way. She's got a little bit of prize money, so she's not going to get ballot out. He's certainly got big plans for her going forward, but yeah, she's going to have to learn to, not do it all the first half. She's going to have to learn to sort of pace herself a bit. Probably reminds me, Pete, when I turned 18 and went down the pub for a few beers, went very hard, very quick, and stopped suddenly. I might have only been 16, by the way.
All been there. But anyway, what was I going to say?
Now you've lost your track, haven't you?
I was just thinking, when I was watching the race, and we probably we've never had a lot of horses recently that would jump and run like that. And if you just turned it on and you've seen her at the 600 when she was 4 in front and like under a bit of a hole, but that's those horses. They don't generally fine. A lot they got to keep running at that bat. But anyway,
I think we're a little bit unlucky that she's trained at Caulfield, because Karen Maher said he'd seen a trial and seen her work and knew she was very fast. So he told Johnny Allen, don't panic, just sit off her.
Yeah.
If she had been trained somewhere else and turned up, all the jockeys would have panicked and chased, but they're all too smart. They'd all seen and knew what she was like, that she was going to go hard and didn't panic, because if they had all panicked and chased her, then, they might have all stopped too. So probably just a little bit stiff there.
I think the winners by Exceed Excel as well. So.
Yeah. Anyway, that's good to get that run out of the way. Write your name. What do you think?
Look, I can understand Lindsay's tactics, and it was a 12 or a 1500, and he went with the 12. He took the blinkers off, or changed the blinkers to visors, and was just hoping that he'd jump and either lead or be behind the leader. But unfortunately, we ended up 3 back on the fence, and you're dictated to all the time in that position. Now, when they fanned, he actually sprinted strongly for about 100 metres and then just plateaued, and I think he was beaten 4.5 at the end, and probably finished 6th, probably only half a length from 3rd. But yeah, I don't know. To me, he's a dead set 1400 metre horse. I think his form over time shows that, and he just needs that. He needs everything to go his way. He needs a comfortable run just in behind him. Produced for 1 run. I think we can see why now. He probably sprints and then just holds his form. Sprints for 100, 150, then holds his form. Look, we just got to look for a 1400 next start. He's a horse that's reached his mark too, and they're hard to place, those horses.
100%. 100%. I think, look, in the yard, he couldn't have looked any better, I thought. He looked outstanding in the yard. The bottom line is, where do we go to from here? I think you're right. His best form's over 1400, but it was certainly a big improvement on his first start, and there was a lot of money for him. So, we just got to hope that we get him to 1400 now, and he can get the job done.
Yeah, no, that's it. 1400 back on the turf, and a benchmark 70 somewhere. Whether we can pick a few more Sandans out or Geelongs or Ballarats. The trouble is, we don't need it too wet with him either. So hopefully the weather improves.
No, I think that's a big thing. I don't think he's a wet tracker either. But
no.
Anyway, by the time he goes around again, it's going to be around about the last week of August. So hopefully it stops raining.
There's a win there. He's racing okay. Like, he was all right at Sandown 2.5. He wasn't bad today from an awkward position. So there's got to be another win there. So we had a winner a couple of seconds. Horses ran well, ran about the money. Black Mirror was a good result. Cracksman nearly for the owners. So, we've kicked off 21-22 with a winner anyway.
Yeah,
4 runners. 4 runners tomorrow, as you mentioned, at headquarters. Now we're going for time on this thing, but we'll flick through them. We'll go in race order, South Pacific. There's about 5 boxes that this horse ticks, opposed to his last start where he ran 7th. Number 1 is Barrier 1. Number 2 is Jamie Carr. Number 3 is the track's going to be perfect for him, probably about a 5 or a 6. I reckon the most important one is to drop back to 2,500 in a smaller field.
Yep.
Just gets a run in behind him.
Well, it ticks all the boxes. He's now out to $3.50. I'm surprised Jamie Carr stayed on him. I really am surprised Jamie Carr stayed on him. I thought she might have jumped off, to be honest.
It's a good sign.
She would have had the pick of most horses. She jumped off 2 others of ours there, but she stuck with this one. I thought she might have stuck with one of the others. I don't know. I just reckon that every jockey and trainer in Australia would know how to get South Pacific beat. You just sit up outside him and look him in the eye, and he caves in like Collingwood. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting here to see what happens. But I think what you say is right. Big track, wet track, good gate, back in distance. He if he's got a heart, if he runs like he ran at Warrnambool and has a go,
yeah.
he's a real chance. But I reckon he'll drift like the north wind. I reckon he'll be at $4 tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I know Dr. Drill. It's not a bad. It's a better field that he beat 2 starts back, like Dr. Drill's top weight. Oh, that's the other. He's 59 back to 56, so 3 kilos off his back will help as well. But well,
there's a lot of good things. I just want to see him try.
Bit of Jekyll and Hyde there, so we'll see which one turns up. Our favourite, Darren, is first up in the Ori Star. Been flying the ATB banner for a couple of years or 3 seasons now. Serious Suspect, first up. You mentioned Jamie Carr didn't want the ride.
No, she got off.
We've got the GOAT on, the greatest of all time, if you talk Group 1 winners, and Damien Oliver, and I think he was happy to give her the opportunity to ride the horse because you've seen him in the flesh quite a few times, and I reckon he would have seen his bum a few times up the straight. Gate 13, perfect, 1200. Look, my assessment of this race opposed to the Standish is it's a bit stronger because we've got some spring horses, there to launch their campaigns, but whether they're up and about, we'll know more after Saturday. But look, he's trialled up well. He missed 1 trial, but he got a serious gallop in. He was good first up last time. One of those horses which just nabbed him last time, I think, was the Astrologist, who's probably one of the dangers. Drawn the right side of the track. We know what you get from this bloke, 110%. He's going to be in front of the 100, whether he's post.
Yeah. I was really pleased to see Damien Oliver go and gallop him on Monday.
Yep.
And he was glowing in his assessment, and he said he was glad he got on the horse because he understands the horse now. Horse is $8.50. Astrologist is $4.80 favourite, B. Thornton. How does it play out, Pete? I think the Astrologist leads. I think most people would have him in the speed maps as leading. I think Serious Suspect probably, where's Ego? He sits outside him probably.
Yep.
So, I just hope it's not Mornington where they take each other on and bury each other. I just hope that Oliver can just do his thing. But they're the 2 horses that are going to be up the front. He's never, a word of warning, he's never won first up, this horse. He's probably unlucky one day, Dean Yendall was on him not to win first up. So I'm not saying he can't win first up, but the facts are he usually takes a run. Yes, he did miss that trial. It is a stronger race. It's 1200 as well, first up on probably a soft track. Who's the ones to beat? Look, there's probably only 4 horses that can win this race, and he's one of them. So the Astrologist ran last week. He's got a backup. Azar's the one Jamie Carr went up and galloped and decided to ride, the deep field horse of Hazes. It's a nice, promising young horse. Only had 9 starts. And then Danny O'Brien's written Tycoon, a young horse on the way up as well. So
yeah,
some of these big names are probably going to need to run. We're looking for further. But look, speaking of Sabis, he said he can't have the horse any better. He thinks he'll definitely run top 3. And he's currently showing $2.90 the place. So for those people that want to have a punt during lockdown, you back him each way and you won't be disappointed.
I think that's the smart play. You're going to be round about, and he's not going to shirk any issues if it comes to a stoush in the last 100. But that order of command, was that the one you're talking about of O'Brien's or another one? It's a horse that we've met across the journey.
Banku.
Oh, Banku, yeah. So he's got a couple in there that go all right. But look, he's there. He'll be banging away at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Move down to the next race. I might have got out of order here. No, I haven't. Oh, Mr. Moneybags, actually. I think he goes around before Serious Suspect. Now, we spoke about Write Your Name, hard to place. This horse is a bit similar, Moneybags. Lindsay decided that after the Mildura run, where we were a bit unlucky, we struck the wet track, that go to the track that he runs well at. go to the distance. You know he runs well at. The only thing is it's an open handicap. The positive from that is we get no weight, 54. It's a strong enough race without being ridiculous. I think he's a top 5 chance, and if he is a top 5 chance and runs top 5, you can certainly place him after that back to those benchmark 84 type races, 78 races, and you can get another win out of this bloke. But tomorrow might be a bridge too far, but I don't think he'll be too far away from a nice gate.
No, I think it's a good summary. You know, this race, it's not a deep race. There's only 10 runners. I honestly think the horse will run top 4.
Yep.
Obviously, Red Can Man was super first up, not so good second up. Grand Swell's short, Freedman's a flying. King Magnus's favourite, great form, you know, going well. And after that, after those 3, biometric, you can have him if you like him. Moneybags' run in the Mildura Cup was better than it looked. You know, I know he got beat 5, but the winner won by 3.
Yeah, easy. And we were the worst part of the track.
And we're on the wrong part of the track. So they're going to put him up $26 and $5 a place in a race that I reckon there's only, he's one of, outside the top 3, he's the next best credentialed horse in the race.
Yeah. There wouldn't be too many that have won 4 races.
If one of those horses up the track, yeah, and if one of those top fancied horses is just a bit off, this bloke can get into the placings at $5, and it wouldn't surprise me if he only got beat a length and a half, 2 lengths in this race. Would not surprise me at all.
No, I agree.
Pretty skinny race.
Yeah, it's like you look at the top end, like you said, all right, they're nice horses in good form, but after that it drops away, and he's not going to be far away because there's not a field of 16 or 17. You can see him sort of from gate 3, but in the first 5 or 6.
Yep.
Hasseltoff is our last runner, and I think it is in the last race. Obviously, a little bit of difficulty finding a race for this bloke in that 1,400 metre bracket. So Rob's decided to go to 1,600, and to a track where you know it's probably going to be. It's not going to be a heavy, you know, it's going to be in the 5 or 6 range. It's a jump from 1,200 to 1,600, but they're happy enough with him. He's got no weight because it's a benchmark 84. Craig Williams, I think, was pretty happy to get the ride. He trialled him up prior to his first up run, so Jamie Carr's jumped off and Willow's on. It's hard. I don't know how he's going to run. I don't know where he fits into it, but you just want to see him hitting the line. It's a difficult task to win second up over a mile.
Yeah, it is. Track and distance, 3 starts, a win and 2 placings. Second up, 2 starts, a win and a placing. Track, 4 starts, a win and 2 placings. Soft track, 5 starts, a win and 3 placings. Winning range, where we're at.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, I just think Craig Williams trialled him. He wanted to ride him first up, but was committed to Jamie Carr. She got off him and said he was going super and he was ready to win. I don't know why she was offered the ride, but she'd already taken the other ride. I don't think she expected him to be in this race. I think she expected him to go to a 1,400.
Yeah.
So we might be reading a little bit too much into that.
Yeah.
But look, this horse rarely misses a place. Like he's had 12 starts, 2 wins, 8 placings. First up, he missed the place because it was first up 1,200. You know, he had no hope. He was only beaten 5 lengths, but if you take that out, he rarely misses a place wherever we take him. He's just a genuine, honest horse. He was a big, big baby. I know he's 4-year-old now, isn't it? 5-year-old now.
Yep.
But he's still a big baby. When he was back here, he was just being half a pest. Like he didn't want you to catch him. He was sort of shying at stuff like a yearling. And he was just narrow around the girth. But he really did mature out during that spell. And he's grown up in the brain a lot. So I think he's in for a really, really good prep. you know, he's won 220,000 in prize money. Craig Williams, probably as good a rider as Flemington as there is. And I just can't believe this horse is $4.40 the place. I know there's some short price horses in here and there's some nice horses in here. But once again, he's got 54.5. There's lots to like about his form and his performances and the fact he's so consistent. Some of these other horses are just not that consistent and not in great form. So I really think he's not going to be far away. And if he's fit enough, and it's hard for us because we're not there, we can't see how forward he is. But if we trust the trainer, you know, and he's there, he's got to be a sneaky place chance.
Yep. Yeah. It's you look at South Pacific, who's going to be $3.60, or probably might be $4, but the three roughest, well, not the roughest, but they're all each way chances. There's all reasons why they all can run a place. It's hard to expect they'll all run a place on the same day, but their individual form lines show that they all can run races and run into the money. And Hasseltoft, for sure, like you said, he's consistent. You can imagine from gate 7, he's probably going to be, you know, probably midfield in the running line, which is perfect at Flemington. And as you said, Craig Williams would have the best strike rate, or one of the best strike rates of any of the leading riders at Flemington. So good to get different jockeys too.
Yeah, I think he just needs to be cuddled early.
Yeah.
And then probably from the 800, he needs to have room to lengthen. He's not a horse that can be bottled up and then accelerate quickly. He's a momentum type horse. So if he can get him out into clear galloping there at the 800 and have an uninterrupted path, he can run into it. Now, when you race and you come back to scale, the first 5 horses weigh in. They all weigh in, first 5 in every race. I'll be really surprised if any one of these 4 runners does not weigh in.
Outside the top 5.
None of them should finish further back than top 5.
We'll have to chase up.
Wouldn't surprise me if one won. Wouldn't surprise me if they all ran a place.
We'll have to chase up Mr. Hexter. So if we get a top 5 for the whole 4, multi.
50.
They're all top 5, Darren. We'd walk away from tomorrow happy. I mean, probably South Pacific.
And I think they're all... Well, South Pacific's probably at his level.
Yeah.
I think the others are all early in their prep and they're on an upwards trajectory.
Yeah.
And they're all going to benefit probably from the run. 2 seconds up and 1's the first up. So, yeah, these are some of our spring type horses, and I think they're all well placed and just love going and racing at Flemington, where every horse gets its chance.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All have one, or I've all won there. There you go. All 4 have one at Flemington.
Yeah.
4.
No, they're all well placed, I think. I think from a betting point of view, it's up to you whether you want to take on, you know, you want to put your money on South Pacific. You always forgive a horse one bad run. He did have a few things against him. Don't want to be too hard on him, but, you know, you could play around there and you could probably land yourself a nice little multi there somewhere.
Yep, for sure. We've got one more to talk about, Darren, and that's at Bendigo on Sunday, Dandino, with Danny O'Brien, called Shine and Dandy. And I think, again, we've ticked a couple of boxes here. We've been thinking this horse was a 1.5 miles. He's got 2,400. He's got a beautiful big track at Bendigo. He's got John Allen staying on, who rode him at Cranbourne, which is a good sign that he's rating the horse's chances. Fielded 9. I think it was already in the top weight out. He's $15 in the early market. He was strong through the line at Cranbourne on a bog. Just back on top of the ground, 2,400. He's another each way hope. Hopefully winning hope.
Yeah, well, he's showing $15 at the minute. It's obviously a maiden. I thought his run last start was really good. I know he ran 5th, but what he got beat 7 lengths, which is a bit strange to say that, but yeah. I thought his last 100 was really, really encouraging.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't. Cranbourne's not his track. But he didn't. Well, it was really, really heavy. But he sort of made ground, didn't he?
He actually
he made ground towards the end. He kept coming.
Yeah.
So Danny O'Brien, he was upbeat about him after the race and thought that race would bring on his aerobic condition to be very competitive at his next outing. So wouldn't surprise me if once again he ran a nice race.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it's like Mildura, Ballarat Synthetic, and then back to Sandown. I don't know. We got no nominations, put it that way. So that's...
No, well, when you look through our list of race horses, they pretty much have all raced this week, haven't they? They pretty much are all going to race or have raced this weekend or during this week. So there's probably not a lot going to happen. The Piero of Archies will probably pop up somewhere in the next week or so.
Yep.
But there's probably not a lot of others that are going to pop up later next week. So
there's one.
I know Tubé's short trial really good the other day, and I think he's going to Pakenham in a fortnight as his first start.
Yep.
But when I look through this list, most of the others are in the paddock or Igniter's waiting for a firmer track. Some of these others are, an Irishman's not far off.
No.
He might pop up in the next 10 days. But, yeah, once again, I think most of these horses have raced this week, and that's probably where we're at the moment.
Well, there's 13. If you count the ones we spoke about and the ones to come up, there's 13. So, not many of them are going to run inside the next fortnight after this weekend. So, anyway, let's hope we can snare. I'll take one winner at Flemington.
100%. So who would you think out of the four would be winning? Who would you have your money on?
If I rated them in order, it's difficult. Probably South Pacific just ahead of Serious Suspect. Then I'd go Hasseltoff Moneybags. I reckon that order. Not a lot. The last two you could go either way, but. You know what you get with Serious Suspect. I'm just a little worried first up over 12. South Pacific ticks. He profiles like his last win. But do you get the same horse?
If Jamie Carr was on Serious Suspect, what price would he be? He's $850.
Oh, he'd be $650, wouldn't he? Probably $5. He'd probably not.
And
it'd be a point between him and the astrologist. Like, smart punters go back through the form. There was not much between them going back, and even Order of Command beat us there one day. There wasn't a lot between us. So, Jamie Carr has a lot to do with the markets.
Yeah, my feeling is each way, Serious Suspect's probably the safest bet.
Yep.
South Pacific's not each way odds, so
no.
I can't put him in that bracket. But I can see him still winning on his start previous.
Yeah.
And I think Hasseltoff's the one that might just surprise a few.
Yeah. You could probably, like you said, you can back Serious Suspect each way. Maybe for your $5, you can take a couple of multis, $5 South Pacific winning into those other two to run a place. You might be able to, all of a sudden you're getting 20 to 1 about the Hasseltoff and the Moneybags running a place. But in saying that, they'll all run fourth. Anyway.
Well, I reckon if you take Serious Suspect the place into Hasseltoff the place,
yep,
$12.50, $50 on that, $600.
Happy days.
Buys a carton of beer.
Carton of beer. Carton of whiskey. Anyway,
yep,
that's her.
That'll do, mate.
That's her.
All right. Well, there we go. Friday afternoon, 5:15. I reckon Liz will have the bar open inside. I need to sneak in and partake. And I've just been stirring Tom and Shelley up, who are in Write Your Name, and I said, looks like you and Ryan must have had a good whack at Write Your Name. And they just texted me back and said, got no money left.
Yeah, someone's had a good whack at him. 21's in the 10s. I reckon they're at the bar now.
Anyway. Thank God we're home and cans are $2.
Exactly. All right, that's
all right,
it
until
me.
next week. I'm Darren Dance with Peter Morganti. Good luck with all your runners on the weekend. Let's hope they all run well. And congratulations on the guys in Black Mirror. It was very good to see. Well done to Pat Ryan. And here's cheers to what happens on the weekend. I'm not sure if you're going to be running any Zoom meetings, Pete, or not. But,
yeah, I'm looking at a couple. I'm thinking serious. I'm thinking serious suspect mob. There's a big contingency there. So we'll try and tune in around 3 o'clock. Yep.
All right. Have a good one. Enjoy lockdown. Enjoy homeschooling.